This is one of his favorite things to do. So maybe we'll do a tuck digging a carrot montage. What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. I hope you're having a great day. Now that we have 2 food forests, there's a good amount of work to be done. And every day there's another surprise. I wanted to bring you guys along. Let's go. Underneath the apple tree from seed, we've got the first strawberry that's going to start flowering. That gets me so pumped. Strawberries are one of my favorite berries and the first one in the food forest. It's the Prigioni apple that's right above it. Hopefully we get some fruit this year. We've got it the last 2 years. Here we've got a grape that's oozing, or as they call it, bleeding a little bit. If you're having a grape that's bleeding, don't be too worried. That's just a natural process. It happens sometimes during pruning, especially when you prune late. But there's never been evidence to show that that's actually negative for the grape. The lettuce from seed is coming up and looking real nice. Let me take you over to the seeds. They're doing real well. I've got the brassicas. Started later than previous years, but I think we'll still do real well and get a great harvest. If you've been following along from starting a food forest from scratch series, the phase 1, 2, 3, the next one's coming up soon. And what we were doing is starting this new food forest. Let me bring you into it and show you the investments that we made last fall and how they're paying off now and how they're setting up for our spring planting. It looks like Tuck is on security duty, watching over the 2 food forests. On the right here, we've got the 7-year-old one and the greenhouse there. Then on my left is the new food forest, the one we put in just last fall. Haven't planted anything yet, but we've got the contractor's paper down, the 4 to 6 inches of wood chips. You could even go 6 to 8 inches if you were planting mostly trees. Let me show you what the ground looks like now that we've got these investments in. From this angle, it doesn't look like much, but just wait till I dig into the wood chips, show you all the life in the soil. There's still some branches left from the eastern red cedar, and that's the one I took down just straight ahead. It was infected with the cedar apple rust, and also it was blocking my south sun. Now I'm going to dig and show you guys just all the life that the wood chips have brought in and how it's actually killed back the grass and provided the perfect environment for worms. Look at this. Just one spot we dug right below us, and we're already getting some nice worms and some nice funguses. And the grass is dying, and that contractor's paper is really helping to mat it out. So when we want to plant, all we'll have to do is just come through and make a groove like that, and maybe add a little soil or compost on top of it. But this grass could have been killed even better if I put the wood chips down in the early fall as opposed to early winter like I did. But look at the worms, they look happy. I'm gonna put them back and let them go to work. This scene of the chickens sneaking into the food forest is getting way too familiar. Let me show you them. Every time I turn around and leave the gate open, there they are. And they go to town once they get in there. The issue, I think, is the latch. I need to do something about it. So I picked up some new hasps. I'm gonna use those after I get these girls out. Now that we have the worms, microorganisms, and fungus working full time, supporting the fertility of this, it's about ready to plant. Some of you have asked in the comments, how much does it cost? How much does it cost to get a food forest going? How much does it cost to get the trees? And in my opinion, that's the wrong question to ask, how much does it cost? I used to ask that same question, but then someone hit me with a new philosophy, a new way of looking at it. And that really opened my eyes and allowed me to take the next step into starting another food forest. And their question was, don't ask how much it costs, ask how much it's worth. When I heard that, that really, like I said, that put the light bulb on for me. So ordering a fruit tree, you look at it, yeah, maybe it costs $28, but how much is that worth? So to give you an idea of how much a food forest is worth to me, I started this one back here, and as you guys know and are seeing here, I'm starting a new one. So that's how much it's worth to me. It's not about the cost. So the question is, what is it worth to you? You know what it's worth to me. To be directly connected to my food, to have the best food in the world, like I say, in my own backyard. Even in regards to eggs, I know what these chickens are eating. Right here, this is a spot you guys probably remember. The chickens scratched this up, and we've got all this thick mat of chickweed growing. So once in about a day or so, I can come out here and just take a nice thick mat of the chickweed that I did no work for. And that's chicken food. They love that. It's one of their favorite. I allow that to grow up in the food forest and get larger. This way I can just toss it out to them and throw it to them. Some things I don't allow, but that I do. So to me, it's worth a lot to know that this is where my eggs are coming from. This is how my chickens are going to be living, and that they're going to be loved and not just treated like a piece of garbage. Let me take you through a little more of the food forest and show you the progression of things. Day by day, we're getting closer and closer. Underneath me, we have some horseradish coming up. Planted this last year. So hoping to make horseradish pickles with these. I love pickles. And behind me is the orange tree we planted about a year ago. And this is an orange tree in New Jersey, yep. We'll talk about that more one day. And Tuck's working over by the raspberries. That section, I'm not happy with how thick the wood chips are. So I think I'm going to go through and actually re-wood chip it. Even while the raspberries are just coming up, they'll be fine as long as I only put about 3 inches or so. And let me take you over to a section underneath this peach tree. We had some little gifts popping up I want to show you. Underneath this peach tree, there's a lot of asparagus planted. So I wanted to go through, see if we had any coming up. Just feeling around, and I didn't see any, but I did notice there are a number of carrots all coming up back here that's self-seeded. I know someone will be super happy about that. He probably knew I was talking about him, so he showed up. Let me hide him, or he's gonna try to dig them all up. No, Tuck. We'll find him another carrot. Looks like some carrots right here. Even though they're in the strawberries, I'll still let him dig them up. Come on, Tuck. Right here, boy. He loves doing this. Sometimes you just gotta let a dog be a dog. This is one of his favorite things to do. So maybe we'll do a Tuck digging a carrot montage.
Your heart is beating, alive and breathing, and there's a reason why you are essential, not accidental, and you should realize you are beloved.
Here's the peach tree with the asparagus underneath it. I'm hoping for a good year with that one. Tuck's hanging out underneath it by the strawberries, just standing on the brick. Back in this section here, I've got chocolate mint planted, and it's just spread out so much. I know mint's invasive, but man, this thing really spread. I'm happy it did though, because it's my favorite mint, and it's my favorite for making tea. So I'm gonna have unlimited tea here. I'll be able to pull it up and dry it out. Anyone who wants chocolate mint, come take as much as you want. In the process of getting the new food forest started and finishing up a couple other projects, I fell behind on a few things. One of them was planting my peas. I should have had them in a couple weeks ago, but it's not too late, so we'll get them in now. Peas are one of the first things you can plant in the garden. Typically, I'll have them planted about 4 weeks before my last frost date. And my last frost date actually is coming up this week, or last expected one. So like I said, I'm a little behind, but I'll be okay. There's a couple different kinds of peas. There's snow peas, and then there's shell or English peas, and then there's snap peas. My favorite are the snap peas. The snow peas are like the flat ones with the tiny little peas in them. Typically, you'll see those in stir fries and stuff. And then the English peas are the ones where you just eat the peas out of them. And then the snap peas, you can eat the whole pod. They're sweet and they're my favorite. So the majority of what I'm gonna plant is gonna be the snap peas. I will be planting the peas along the fence line on the inside of the garden, all over to here and along there as well. And as they start flowering and producing, I'll come behind those and plant cucumbers. This way we can get that double harvest. Let me go through and start planting them now. Some of you are probably curious how I plant my peas. And there's not much to it when you have the right system in place. So we've got the mulch down. We just move a little mulch out of the way. You can see it's already getting nice and wet, nice and damp. We're gonna take a pea, go to 3/4 of an inch, push it in about, and that's it, and then cover it back up. Notice we got down to the soil level. I'm not planting in wood chips, I'm planting in the soil. And then we'll cover it up with just a little bit of mulch, not much. We don't want to have too much for the seed to push through. Since it's a pea, it's pretty strong, it can push through. Some other seeds you don't want to cover with any mulch until they come up and they're strong. Then you could put the mulch around the base of them. You don't want to have huge wood chips or something covering up over your seed and restricting it from even coming out of the ground. Now I'm going to go through and plant all the peas along the fence lines. Another thing to note is when you're planting your seeds, if the ground is super dry where you're planting it, it's probably not going to sprout, it's probably not going to grow. You have to create an environment that's conducive to growing. That's why we're putting the wood chips down, that's why we're putting the mulch in. We're creating an environment that's excellent for growing food.
full of questions. How can you measure up to deserve affection? To ever be enough for this existence? When did it get so hard? Your heart is beating, alive and breathing, and there's a reason why you are essential, not accidental, and you should realize you are beloved. I wanted you to know you are beloved. Let it soak into your soul and go.
Another fence line planted, and it feels great. I'm kicking myself though. I should have come out here earlier and got it done. It's not hard to do, and planting seeds is one of my all-time favorite things. I want to encourage you guys, if there's something that you're putting off, something that's not even hard like this, I want you to get out there and get it done. A lot of times the decision to actually do something is harder than the action. So get out there, grow, or get done that thing that you've been putting off. Now let me get some more planted.
Gonna hear you call, oh, but there's a purpose under the surface, and you don't have to drown. Let me remind you that love will find you. Let it lift you.
This homemade latch has been here long enough, and it's done its job. But now it's time to put a new one in. I'm gonna put a haspin, and these are great because after you put it on, you could just turn it. And that makes it so it locks it, so you don't have to worry about it opening up and having your chicken sneak in on you.
Forget the lies you heard, rise above the herd, listen to these words, you are beloved. I want you to know you are beloved. You are beloved.
That's what it looks like finished. As you can see, I had to drop it down because we have such a large gap at the top there. That's because this post got pulled as a result of that fence. And I didn't concrete it into the ground. That's why I pulled. I don't like using concrete if I don't have to. And I love these little latches because you're able to just lock them like that. You don't have to put anything through it, you can just lock it. So I'll have one of those on every food forest door to keep the chickens out. That's today's video. I just wanted to say I appreciate all of you for watching, for commenting, and for following along for this process and of the food forest, the growth day by day and all the stages, because this is my passion. To be able to share it with you guys, it's truly a blessing for me. And if I can bring you any kind of value, that's what I want to do. So if you enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends. Check us out on Steam It, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so every time we do update, you know. See you in the next one. Jace Prigioni.